Welcome back to the Second and Short podcast where the entire playbook is open. I'm Josiah.
I'm Christian.
I'm Hayden.
I'm Cooper.
And for those of you who like to listen to audio only, the Spotify link will be in the description. You may see we have a little visitor here. So we got some dogs out today, and I don't just mean Luke's feet. And so you might see some little friends roaming around here. But we'll do our best to stay focused while they're among us. So
New mascots.
yeah. So like I said, this is the Second and Short podcast. We're going to do a couple things today. The first thing we're going to start with is talk about award winners. So Hayden's going to take it away from there.
Yeah, so what we had was everybody who's been a part of the Second and Short team voted on all the AP awards, and then we also added in Executive of the Year, just because that's kind of one of the Pro Football Writers Awards that still kind of deserves some recognition. So the final ballot finished up MVP Lamar Jackson. That was kind of as expected. I mean, since there were a lot of Steelers fans, we probably got a little bit of a biased vote. Christian McCaffrey was just one vote short. Expect that to be different on Thursday with the NFL honors when the actual votes are revealed. But Offensive Player of the Year was Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, that makes sense since he was so close to being our MVP. And then Defensive Player of the Year, the one who it should be, and I'm not really convinced that it's going to happen right now, TJ Watt. He won unanimously. He was the only award that was 100%. There were a couple that were close to unanimous, but TJ Watt, even the Ravens and Browns fans that we had voting on it, and Naples and Eli and Hunter, just no question. TJ Watt's the Defensive Player of the Year. Comeback Player of the Year was my guy, yours truly, Joe Flacco. He won this one pretty convincingly. Obviously, some Bills fans in the crowd, like Nick Steiner's, going to be a little upset that DeMar Hamlin didn't win it. We all thought that was cake in the preseason. I think all of us we didn't like it, but we all kind of had just conceded when we did our award predictions that was going to be the case. Not so, though. And then Coach of the Year was D'Amico Ryans. Hard to really argue.
Is Stefanski on here?
Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at it. So
you have the laptop open. You go ahead and look. It's been a while since I looked at it.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, no, sure. So it's Kevin Stefanski, obviously with what he did with the Browns after their starting quarterback went down, after their all-pro running back went down, was just like, I mean, it kind of speaks for itself a little bit there. So like, I think everybody wrote the Browns off, and then they finished 11-5? No, 11-6. What were they at?
Yeah, it would have been 11-6.
Something like that. Like, I mean, they were the 5th seed.
Yeah.
Right in the AFC. Like, I mean, it's kind of incredible, to be honest with you. Rookies of the Year, so Offensive Rookie of the Year, we obviously had CJ Stroud for Offensive Rookie of the Year, because that's like, I mean, I think everybody's pretty much got that one written in there. There were some other guys that were like in the conversation for it, but like, I mean, multiple 400-yard passing games this year, so like, I mean, that's kind of, again, speaks for itself. And the league loves quarterbacks. They love to give awards to quarterbacks. So, like, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Jalen Carter. I think he's the odds-on favorite to win it still. I mean, I think, was close to the rookie sack record, I think, or some rookie QB hurries or something like that. There's some record
he was in. Yeah.
If he didn't break, I can't recall off the top of my head, but great season for him. So Executive of the Year, which was the one that we added, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, we had Nick Caserio, who is the Houston Texans GM. It came from the Patriots, if I remember correctly. Yep. Yeah, before that. But, I mean, just with what he did in like 1 year span from last year to this year, going from having a top pick to being a team that, I mean, kind of almost won a first half of a playoff game, really. Obviously against a team that was the number 1 seed. But, I mean, even just, what he did with trading up to get Will Anderson Jr., right? Like, everybody's like, ooh, I don't know about this, mortgaging the future. But, like, he got his guys. Like, he got the guys he wanted. And then Assistant Coach of the Year, we had Jim Schwartz, who obviously was the Browns defensive coordinator. They obviously have had talent in the past, but like, I think they took a bigger step this year than maybe people were expecting, or, that they hadn't in the past necessarily. They produced at a higher rate. So that one kind of is associated obviously with Jim Schwartz and his pedigree, if you will. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, AFC North rich there, very well represented, but
Yeah. Which, by the way, I mean, I'm sure a lot of the people here would agree. You talked a little bit about TJ Watt. Like, a lot of us probably feel like TJ should probably have like 2 or 3 at this point based on, getting robbed. Some of us think with Aaron Donald, and also I think Stephon Gilmore, who didn't necessarily not deserve it, but like, I mean, biasly, I think TJ probably should have 3, potentially 4 this year if he gets robbed again. That's kind of.
So I'm completely fine with the Stephon Gilmore one. I think he was just amazing that year. The Aaron Donald one, I do think it was a rob, but I mean, it's all right. And then this year, though, if he doesn't get it this year, this one's in a whole nother class than the other two, I think.
Yeah.
Like, he should without question be the winner. And Myles Garrett, I wouldn't even have as my number 2. If you want to put Mike Parsons there, that I can get around to, but
Sure.
Myles Garrett just no way he should be the winner this year.
I agree with you there, but the only reason I think Garrett's in contention is because their defense as a whole was number 1, number 2, top 3 this year, but it's defensive player of the year, not defensive unit of the year. So
Yeah.
TJ single-handedly carries games for us. So
Yeah, he's our offensive player of the year as well.
Absolutely is. Yeah.
But
I mean, 2 touchdowns this season did he have or something like that? It was his first time scoring a touchdown this season because he's always the one making the
in the regular season,
Playoff game.
he scored versus the
regular
Chiefs.
season maybe I'm thinking
Yeah.
of. But yeah, like he's always the one making the strip sack, so he doesn't always recover it himself. But yeah.
Quick going down the line, who's everybody's non-quarterback and offensive rookie of the year and why?
Puka Nakua, I think it's pretty easy. I had him on fantasy, so I'm a little bit biased there, but he did a lot for the Rams offense. He kind of took a lot of the pressure away from Kupp, and I think it's going to be really important moving forward with him, and I'm excited to see where
Tyreek
it's
Hill.
next.
Rookie.
Oh, rookie?
Yeah. Offensive rookie.
I think Puka's the right answer, but just for the
Puka.
sake of argument, Sam Laporta. I mean,
that's a
the
good
guy
one.
was going to break every single tight end rookie record. We just don't give tight ends these awards. Like Travis Kelce, we want to talk about snubs. He's never been offensive player of the year. And
that's crazy.
he's been arguably one of the, not the best tight ends, but one of the best receivers in the game for a while now. We just don't give tight ends the awards. And Sam Laporta, if we're being honest, I don't even know where he is on odds, but he has a tiny case against Stroud, I think, even, and he's probably 4th at best, maybe 3rd.
There's
Yeah.
no way
So-
Stroud doesn't win it.
Well, and I'm just talking about odds where he's at. Yeah. So, and Laporta has a case where I think he could be technically one. So, I think Sam Laporta would be mine.
Jahmyr Gibbs up there too, so that's 2 Lions.
Yeah.
So
I'll throw another one out there because this is actually who I said before the season started was my vote. Like, I mean, Zay Flowers had a great season. I mean, he might not be in the conversation of some of these other guys like a Laporta or like obviously Stroud or whoever, but like, I mean, he had a sneaky good season. And like, even in the playoff game, I'll say he had like 1.75 touchdowns in the game because like he didn't, but like at the same time, like he kind of did. Like he made the catch, he made the run, he made a rookie mistake and reached the ball forward. Like if he goes down there, like they maybe score a touchdown, they maybe end up winning that game. Like rookie mistake, but at the same time, like that shouldn't overshadow. Like he had a really good rookie season, and I feel like moving forward, he's going to be their number 1 guy. He's going to get targets. Like I feel like he's going to be a centerpiece of what they need to do moving forward.
Christian?
I don't know who to say. I'm trying to think of other people.
Robert Jones. Give it to an old lineman, dude. It's never happened.
I don't know who I would be. Probably Puka for sure, but I'd say he's the best one.
He really did shine out this year.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, like Hayden said, that was our award winners. Just kind of based on the votes that we had of people on the show, some of our buddies, things like that we had vote just on who we think is going to win those awards. So the next thing we wanted to talk about today was just doing like a little draft. We've done some of these in the past where we kind of just go like around to each person and kind of talk a little bit about like, in like a snake format or like a regular draft format and just take people based on a specific topic. Hey, mic check.
Listeners that own the dog walk through all
Yeah.
the bolts and cords.
So we just throw out a topic and we draft people, franchises, whatever we want based upon what that idea is or whatever the topic is that we're going to talk about. So the one that we're going to throw out today is who has the most to gain or lose with a Super Bowl victory. So this can be basically anybody. It can be coaches. It could be divisions. It could be, I mean, you could say the NBA if you really wanted to make a case for that. But like, we're also going to throw out a reason for it afterwards as well. So Cooper, since you're the youngest and also the newest on the show, we're going to start with you. You get the first overall pick.
Do you guys want to snake this one or
Yeah, let's snake this one.
snake this one
Yeah.
3 rounds?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can choose. So like you can also say like, hey, if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, blank. Right.
Yeah.
So like you can do a little focus, and then if Hayden wants to go next and choose the Chiefs as well, he can. Or he can say if the Niners win, like whatever you want to do. Or do we want to do rounds where it's like we all go through and say Chiefs, we all go back through and say Niners.
Yeah.
I said do whatever you want.
Do whatever. Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay. I'm going to start it off, and I'm going to say when the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, they have the most to gain, I think. Still, even though that they won it last year, Niners haven't won it in a little while, but I think they still have the most to gain because that'll be the conversation of, hey, they are a dynasty. I don't think they're a dynasty yet, but if they win the Super Bowl, I think they are a dynasty and will be a dynasty for many years. And I think Andy Reid will go down as one of the top coaches ever. And Patrick Mahomes is closer to that Tom Brady level. He's obviously not there yet, but I think they still have the most to gain.
Yeah. Did you guys see that little video of Tom Brady walking probably through a zoo or something like that? He was walking with like his little entourage or whatever, and they're walking up to a goat exhibit, and one of his guys standing next to him goes, "Hey, look, it's the Mahomes exhibit." Like, and you just hear Brady chuckle. Like, that's funny stuff.
I'm going to stick right along those same lines. I'm going to say Patrick Mahomes has the most to gain from this. I mean, he's chasing Tom. Tom has 7. He has 2. Could have had 3, but he was playing with an awful offensive line. He just had surgery. Wasn't able to beat Brady and the Buccaneers. If he gets this one, he's up to 3 already. He's only 28. It's easy to say he's never going to catch Tom, and it's going to be really hard. But saying that you have 3 before the age of 29, that's hard to argue with. He's on pace. The Chiefs aren't going anywhere. I told you, Christian, the Chiefs are going to be the Chiefs. I don't care if they're
losing. I don't care.
They're in the Super Bowl. Yeah. The Chiefs are going to be the Chiefs. I really want San Fran to win this game, but it's Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. It's hard to really say he's not going to be the guy.
I'm going to go with my boy Brock Purdy here. I think it's going to end the hate for everything. Like, yes, he's obviously not the best player on the team. I think that he is an NFL quarterback, like a franchise quarterback for them. I don't care what you say. I think if you go somewhere else, he might not be as good, but he's still going to be like, we were watching the one podcast earlier. Like, he is like their Kirk Cousins, but I would say he's better than Kirk Cousins. I think he's going to solidify himself. Cam Newton could stop running his mouth. I would say Purdy's better than Cam Newton. Has a ring, you don't.
Do you think he's a top 10 player on that team? Purdy?
Yeah.
He's the 10th best player. I actually agree with Cam on that.
We
can talk about
that
if we want, but like I could name 10 players on that team better than Brock Purdy. And that's not hating on Purdy. No. There are 10 players on that team better than Brock.
Can you do it? Can you do it right now just for the sake of argument?
I mean,
because I'm curious.
We're talking on both sides of the ball, right?
Yes. The 49ers active roster.
Yeah. So, I mean, CMC, Kittle, Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Trent Williams, Kyle Juszczyk. Maybe
I would give it to you.
And we're not even on the defensive side of the ball. We're going to throw out Nick Bosa. We're going to throw out Dre Greenlaw. We're going to throw out Hufanga. We're going to throw out Warner. Travarius Ward. Like, there are probably 12 players.
I would say
Purdy.
every position they have is at least a star, like a superstar.
That's not hating Purdy. They're just a great team.
They just have an amazing roster.
Going off of that, I would put him probably around 9 or 10. I'm with you until the Ward and Hufanga, and I love both of them.
Yeah.
But let's not get crazy. Brock Purdy is still Brock Purdy.
Scout.
We're having some technical errors.
Yeah, I think we're gonna break for a second. Get these dogs settled down.
What is your freaking issue, dog?
All right, we are back from our little break. We had to do some dog corralling real quick. So just to recap real quick, Cooper said the Chiefs, just in general with their overall dynasty and everything to continue moving forward from this point. Hayden said Patrick Mahomes specifically in his chase of Tom Brady's greatness. Then it came to Christian, and Christian said Brock Purdy. Kind of speaks for itself, solidifying himself as not a game manager, which Alex Smith kind of already did when he rejected his application for the game manager club, whatever you want to call it. And then it comes to me. So final pick of the first round is actually going to be Chiefs win. The AFC West, I think, really benefits from that. And hear me out on this. I've been open about talking about this entire year that I think that by the end of this year, if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, I think Travis Kelce considers retirement. I think that he would potentially. Obviously, as well, a lot of people have talked about Andy Reid's retirement. I think if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl this year, that's going to be a huge hot topic this offseason, is people talking about retirements from the Chiefs, whether it's Andy Reid, whether it's Travis Kelce, whatever it might be. And I think that's why the AFC West benefits from that. Because if those guys gone, obviously they're still going to be the Chiefs. They're still going to have Patrick Mahomes. But you can't fill voids like that right away. Right. It's it just doesn't happen. And so I think if Chiefs win this year, I think the AFC West are beneficiaries of that. So
you kind of went an opposite direction of me, I was saying they were going to build on the dynasty if they won, but you also said they might take a few steps back if they win.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But also, if Andy Reid does decide to retire, do you think Eric Bieniemy will be the number one candidate?
I think Patrick Mahomes would want him to be there. I think Patrick Mahomes would make his case, and I think you have to listen to it.
Yeah.
You don't think he likes him?
Bill Belichick and Mike Vrabel are available. Those are the guys that you're going for.
Yeah, but that's another coach on his way out, though. Belichick, I mean.
Belichick, yes. Vrabel's played there. I mean, there were rumors of him going to the two other places he played during his career in Pittsburgh and New England. I'm telling you, I think they're going to... It's Patrick Mahomes. They're going to aim as high as possible. And Bill Belichick, I know he hasn't been the Belichick that we're used to the past couple of years, but if you give him Patrick Mahomes...
Oh, yeah.
It's hard for me to see them not getting one ring during a Belichick Kansas City era.
Yeah. And honestly, probably the most realistic one is Spags. I mean, if we're being honest, that's probably who they would probably promote.
They would definitely look at him, but
yeah. So I mean, they would do interviews. I think they would interview all potential things. I think that they would seriously take Mahomes' opinion into account, because if that's the guy he's going to be working with for the next 9 years left on his contract or something like that, you need to have this guy bought in, especially if he's won 3 Super Bowls in 6 years of playing. You have to take it into account. So, Snake.
Yeah.
So back to me. I'm going to go the opposite way and go with the Niners this time. Niners win. Biggest beneficiary of that, in my opinion, would be Christian McCaffrey's Hall of Fame candidacy. I think I think he's already borderline, if not, in the conversation for it. And a Super Bowl, I know. I am harsh. We've talked about this before. I'm harsh on who I think is going to go in the Hall of Fame. I think a lot of the people that we think are going to be in the Hall of Fame aren't, just because of how little players that have ever, there's been this huge chunk of players that have played in the league, and such a small amount are in the Hall of Fame. It's there were deserving guys in the past. I think there's deserving guys in the league now who aren't necessarily going to make it. But I think that if they win the Super Bowl this year, CMC has that on his resume. I think the CMC is, in the conversation then at that point of first ballot type guy. So
mine's going to be Kyle Shanahan. I'm just going to, obviously we all view him as one of the best coaches in the league already. I say if he gets a Super Bowl win, because he's one of the greatest offensive minds out there, I think that he's going to arguably, you could argue, Hall of Fame with how great his mind is for offense and what he did with his quarterbacks and the team. I think it argues that he could honestly be argued as one of the best coaches to coach if he does, especially if they keep going. But that's why I'm going with Shanahan there.
I'm going to kind of stick with Josie's idea. I'm going to go with Travis Kelce. We had an Audible segment with Luke where we ranked our top 5 tight ends, and we realized that it is a lot more competitive than what people realize. Shannon Sharp was really more towards the bottom, but Antonio Gates has double his touchdowns, and Shannon Sharp is viewed as way higher on the tight end pecking order than Antonio Gates is. Obviously, Tony Gonzalez is really hard to argue. He's kind of the previous generation, but between blocking, receiving, and just overall consistency, the longevity was crazy. And then we saw Gronk, who as Steelers fans, we all know he was unguardable. Like the only thing that held him back was injuries, and those injuries were kind of forced because he was so unguardable. There was kind of a bounty out on him. But then we saw Travis Kelce, who's not as physically dominating, but
Athletic freak.
yeah, he just has a way to find the soft spot in zone coverage. And all of a sudden, he has the record for most 1,000-yard seasons. He has the longevity that Gronk didn't have. And if he wins, then he has 3 Super Bowls. So Gronk's 4 untouchable Super Bowls all of a sudden seems pretty touchable if Kelce were to continue playing. It's hard to argue. And like, I'm sure the older crowd really going to push for Gonzalez. I pushed for Gronk for a long time. But if you look at the numbers and look at the impact, it's Travis Kelce at this point. It's like, and that's something, and it almost feels unfair because I feel like we've forgotten how good Gronk was and how if he really wanted to, he could probably still be playing and excelling at like a Pro Bowl level. But I think Travis Kelce has a ton to gain with another Super Bowl win, especially with all the hate. People, whether fairly or unfair, like at the start of Black History Month saying that Travis Kelce invented the fade. Like, I think he said it. Like, that's just throwing him out to the wolves. Like the guy has enough pressure and crap on his back already. You don't need to be starting that conversation. He's obviously dating the most popular woman, maybe the most popular person in the world at the moment. So it's just like, #1 podcast. He's the best tight end in the NFL history. Maybe like the guy just has so much going on for him. And on the one hand, it's great. Like who wouldn't love to be Travis Kelce right now? But on the other hand, the guy just has been catching so much hate. Like, and he also happens to play on the best team in the last decade. Yeah. So there's obviously going to be already some haters out there, but Travis Kelce, if he can win and just, Mr. Visor, but
Pfizer with the armful.
I don't know. He can just. They've embraced being the bad guys, and I think Travis Kelce is really the epitome of that.
I'm gonna go with a little bit of a different route and not go with a player here. I'm gonna go with Patrick Mahomes' dad.
I'm interested to hear this. I'm actually like that.
Well, give some background. Give some background and context
for the people at home that do not know. Patrick Mahomes' dad was driving his car under the influence.
Oh my gosh.
And obviously that is not legal, and he was caught. So he went to jail for a DUI.
It was a DWI, wasn't it? Driving while intoxicated?
Might have caught more than some of his receivers, man, catching it.
Okay, same thing. DWI, DUI, whatever. But if the Chiefs lose this Super Bowl, it's going to be a bad week for him. So...
You're not wrong.
He's got a lot to lose here.
You're not wrong,
but
dude.
If you get a DUI and your son wins the Super Bowl, push that DUI out the window. Like, I mean, really.
It's how you say.
Okay, this has been his 3rd time.
That doesn't matter.
Oh my god.
It does.
I thought you meant Super Bowl. Okay, that matters.
It's
that
like
matters.
3rd charge.
But
He's facing 2 to 10 years of prison time.
does anybody know the stats on when Patrick Mahomes' dad has received a DUI? Have they won the Super Bowl that year?
We need to call Eli up. Let's get
Yeah, Josie's looking at the 2 previous arrests.
Yes.
It's public record. So.
Let's know the year and let's see if they won a Super Bowl that year.
See how they did. Well, I mean, what if it was before his playing days? Then we have to go back to how he did in high school, how he did at Texas Tech. All right, you know what?
I'm not wrong here.
I don't love some of the word choice, but I don't disagree.
I don't think he's gonna play better with his dad.
But seriously, the poor guy. His family's freaking mess.
Yeah, his family.
He has his brother doing some jacked up.
What?
We're getting out of pocket right now, boys. So
did you guys see the video I sent of you when he told his wife you can't have an RBF anymore?
Yeah, I mean, Brittany's crazy. His brother's getting charged with like sexual assault, like, and dancing on Sean Taylor, like memoriams. Like the poor guy, like the guy's just trying to win some Super Bowls, and his family's out there just making a complete fool of themselves.
It looks like in 2018 he received his second, so I'm not sure when the first one was.
win
and then
in
served
2018?
40 days in jails on
was the second
weekends in
year.
2019 and 2020. So 2018, 2019, and 2020 is what it looks like.
So pretty
So
successful.
this is his fourth.
Yeah.
Then this is his fourth.
Is it?
If it happened in 2018, then that was his second, and that happened again in 19 and 20. I'm reading this from New York Post, so like.
So at the
fake
top of
news,
my
but
2018 was the year that they lost to New England in the AFC Championship game, but they didn't really lose. New England just won it because New England got the ball first in overtime and D Ford was offsides, like
So here's
called back the
ultimate
pick.
question. By the time Patrick Mahomes retires, will Patrick Mahomes have more Super Bowls or will his dad have more?
oh my gosh, stop! All right,
All right, Hayden, your pick. Let's go.
Sorry, guys.
okay, sorry. Wikipedia. The number of arrests has been
Don't trust
reported as
Wikipedia.
3 or 6.
Wikipedia is a good.
3 or 6 is what it's
Can't they
saying.
change it? Like,
Varying by varying by source. So it's either 3 or 6. It depends on who you ask. Basically, is what they're saying.
So go to rehab.
And my guess would be 6 based on what I read in the previous one.
I mean, Luke, I think we have our clip for social medias and TikTok. I feel like just clip that whole little conversation. Wow. How do we go for Cooper? I feel like you should have like just had that live.
What's everybody's favorite Super Bowl of all time? I'll go first.
Just go and steal it. Yeah, steal it.
Cardinals. You have the 100-yard pick six before halftime. You have Larry Fitzgerald taking in a touchdown with a little over 2 minutes to go.
Yep.
Ben puts together what's probably the best drive in Super Bowl history to send Santonio Holmes catching the corner of the end zone with less than a minute left. I mean, that was right around the time when I first started watching football, and it was a heck of a game.
All right, and then for the sake of argument, I'm gonna have all of us choose a different one. I think we can all agree at least on some level with Luke's choice, but just for the sake of argument, you guys choose a different one. I can go last.
Okay, I'll go first then. I'm gonna go with Panthers and Broncos, just because that
one was so boring.
I know, but I don't know.
Surprised you can go.
I guess,
Seattle,
but I don't know.
Denver.
That one just
48-6. Like,
that one just sticks in my head for whatever reason.
All right.
Just
Peyton's last game.
because
I'll
of
give
Peyton,
it to you. I'll
yes,
give it to you.
and I liked all the Cam Newton hate with him reaching down for the ball and going back, whatever. But
he made that Chris Berman whoop sound when he did it. I bet if he was mic'd up, he whoop. You wanna go? Me go? All right, I'll go. Me go.
I'm between 3, so you choosing one. Hopefully you'll eliminate choice.
I'm gonna go. I'm not sure if anybody would have been going this same route or not. The dog. I'm not sure if anybody was thinking this route or not, but I'm actually gonna go with the previous Chiefs and Niners matchup. I thought that was
a good one.
Yeah. I mean, being down 20-10. I remember I was in Eastern Pennsylvania with my sister and my brother-in-law, and my brother-in-law looks at me with the Niners score. He's like, "Hey man, I think that's game." And I told him, I was like, "Look, dude, it's Patrick Mahomes." And like that was early on in Patrick Mahomes' career, but I'm like, "Look, dude, he came back in every single game that postseason." I think that was the season that they were losing like 24-0 against the Houston Texans, and then they came back and won it 54-31.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien's
Yeah,
last
scored
good year.
That scored a 54-7. Like that, I mean, I literally said to my brother, I'm like, nah, not yet. Don't say that yet. Like this is Mahomes. Like he's
Yeah.
still in there. They're still in this game, and they ended up coming back and winning it. So like that one is a fond memory of mine because it was just in that moment. It's like, you know, I should have wagered on it. Honestly.
Not to go back to the Arthur Smith conversation, but also his Titans, led by Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill that year, just almost got all the way.
Yeah.
You go first.
Beat the number 1 seed Ravens.
I
if
want you to
remember
see if you're
correctly.
unlimited choice. So I'm between 3 and this stuff. You go.
Oh, that was the year they picked off Brady, the pick 6, Logan Ryan's pick 6, right? And then
Yes.
they went on and beat the number 1 seed Ravens.
So that was Brady's
Last
that
pass as
that
the
might be one of my
Patriot.
favorite postseasons of all
Yes.
time that didn't
Such a
involve the
good
Steelers.
postseason. Like, and just to throw it out there, because we are Steelers fans, the last throw that Tom Brady threw as a Patriot was a pick 6 to a former teammate, Logan Ryan. So just throw a little side shot there
Salt
at
in the
Tom
wound,
Brady. That's
like-
right. Yeah.
then he went to go win another Super Bowl.
And he did.
All right, I'm going to go unorthodox because honestly, like I said, I think we all agree with Luke's choice. I'm going to go with one that you guys definitely weren't going to pick. I'm going to go with Steelers over the Vikings, the first Super Bowl of their franchise. Franco Harris, Super Bowl MVP. They win 13-3. I'm sure it was an excellent game to watch. Shout out Eli, his choice for best Super Bowl would have definitely been the Rams Patriots, the Jared Goff blunder game, 13-3 for that game as well. Conveniently, Jules Edelman being the MVP. But I mean, kicked off the greatest franchise in sports.
You suck.
Were you really gonna pick that?
No, I was between.
Oh.
Yeah, you did.
You suck like you was gonna
I
pick
was
it.
hoping he was going to eliminate the ones who I was between because I'm between a couple that I really liked.
He's gonna pick the 70s
You put me on the
Steelers.
spot.
Is one of them Patriots Falcons?
I thought about that, but I wasn't going to pick it.
That's crazy that they
First
didn't
game
even
in
come on.
overtime and best and biggest comeback in Super Bowl history. Maybe even postseason.
Eagles,
What about-
Patriots,
what about
Big
the-
Dick
yeah.
Nick.
What
I
about
think
the
I'm
lights
going with
going
that
off?
one.
What about the lights going off in the Ravens
That
Niners?
was like before I really liked.
That was the first Super Bowl that I watched start to finish with no interruption.
I think I'm gonna go with the Eagles Patriots. Just seeing the Eagles as big underdogs winning their first Super Bowl.
Plus, you love to see Tom.
Yeah.
Brady lose.
Yeah,
And
that
then,
was a good one. I forgot about
It
that
was
one.
such
That
a high
was,
scoring
yeah.
game too. Honorable mentions though. I like the Rams. Bengals won a lot. That one was just always tough for me between those two teams. And then obviously you said Falcons Patriots. That was a really good game. Even though it was
Here's a quick
Heartbreaking.
off the cuff trivia for you guys. Who were the 3 players that touched the ball on the Philly special? Can you name all 3 of them?
Trey Burton, Corey Clement, Jason Kelsey, and
I mean,
Nick
Jason
Foles,
Kelsey.
and Nick
After
Foles.
the snap. So
And
that,
Nick
yeah, I
Foles,
wasn't
so-
counting Jason Kelsey, but yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Sorry, Christian.
I was gonna name them. You suck. You don't let me.
No, that was good on.
You suck.
Good on.
Cooper.
All right, round 3. We've done round 3, pick 1. Round 3, pick 2.
Yes.
I don't even know what you said.
What?
All right. Anyways,
I did this. I'm gonna break him
In half.
Ooh, shivering.
Shiver me
Cooper, not you. You would kill me.
okay. So I'm gonna go with Chris Jones. Josie was talking. We've all kind of talked about Hall of Fame cases and how they're built with a Super Bowl. You talked Shanahan. You talked McCaffrey, and that's true. Especially if you can add a Super Bowl MVP to that, like Von Miller. Von Miller has 2 Super Bowl rings, dominated them both, got a Super Bowl MVP out of one of them, and because of that, he's going to be remembered as one of the better defensive players. You suck, dog. These dogs.
Ooh, got a shot of the donkey in the camera. there.
In the gray sweats.
We're gonna have to blur that out.
All right, continue.
And because of that, I'm gonna go Chris Jones. He's scheduled to hit free agency unless they tag him. Still think he really should have negotiated a no tag when they reworked his deal this season. But he has a chance to become a 3-time Super Bowl champ. Add on all of his All Pros and Pro Bowls. Chris Jones all of a sudden has a pretty good Hall of Fame resume with some good football ahead of him. Not the best interior D lineman anymore, but he's still top 10, maybe even top 5. So definitely a chance to continue to build that Canton resume.
I don't want to go 3 49ers, but I think I am after you picked him. I'm going to go Trent Williams. I'm going to say that he will be the best tackle over Joe Thomas if he
Of all
wins the
time.
Super Bowl. Yeah, just doing at what he does at his age with his size and ability, he's continuing. That's just nuts. And then if he wins a Super Bowl, for sure he's gonna, because Joe Thomas didn't get a Super Bowl at all because he stayed loyal to the crappy Browns.
So, AFC North podcast, by the way. What are your thoughts on Anthony Munoz, the Bengals guy?
Jackie Slater, the Rams tackle,
Slater.
played 20
I
years.
mean, heck, Andrew Whitworth, like maybe not in
Andrew
the same
Whitworth's
conversation
good,
as those
but I
guys,
think
but like
Williams is way
up
better.
there. Yeah.
Bruce Matthews, he played all 5 offensive line positions. Made his first Pro Bowl at 30.
Yeah.
He has the most Pro Bowls of all time, and he had his first one at 30.
That's
That's
insane.
crazy. Like
14, right? He had 14
Yeah, I
Pro
think
Bowls.
so.
Yeah. That's nuts. Okay. Final pick of the draft. I'm going to steal a little bit of a page out of Christian's first picks boat, but I'm going to go with Brock Purdy's wallet. If the Niners win, Brock Purdy's not going to be making $870K next year. Brock Purdy's going to get a nice contract. He's going to get an extension.
he's not eligible.
2 years. Really? Not yet?
Not to kind of crap.
I mean, he'll get incentives.
Eventually.
And like, they'll throw something his way.
can't-
They
Like,
can't. It's not legal until after the 3rd year.
well, They'll make an exception. They'll make an exception.
For winning.
The NFL pays them like a stipend.
Yeah.
So-
Well, eventually, maybe not
yeah.
next year. I'll stand corrected. Next year, not going to happen. Moving forward, Brock Purdy, I mean, going to the NFC Championship game and then winning the NFC Championship game the next year in his first 2 years is like, again, say what you want about him being, I mean, we had this conversation literally earlier, like top 10 player on the team, like, but at the same time, it's like he's the quarterback and quarterbacks get paid the most money. And he's a winning quarterback regardless of what weapons are around him. So, like, I think that Niners win the Super Bowl, he's going to be a huge beneficiary of that from a monetary standpoint and also from a job security standpoint, I think, too. I mean, he's able to take them to the same point that Jimmy Garoppolo was when Jimmy Garoppolo was like 7 years into his career, right? It's like, I mean, he was able to take them to the same point and he threw the ball a heck of a lot more than 8 times in the NFC Championship game. So I think that he fits what they need. And in order to keep him, he might not make 45 a year.
I think by the time he gets his contract, though, that's going to be the expected. Yeah.
So, like, I think that, I mean, he's solidifying himself now as like a quality starter in the league, regardless of how you feel about him. They're going to continue to win games. And I think that just kind of speaks to, they win the Super Bowl this year. And like, I think that solidifies it further. So,
No, and I feel like it's important to mention, I forget who we were talking about last week when we mentioned it, but these players don't have like secure caps, whether it's a floor or a ceiling on their career. It's not Madden where players 85 overall. Some days that player might progress into like the 90s, and then there might be some days where that player is awful. These guys are humans. It's not a video game. And Brock Purdy, we counted it out. He's somewhere between the 9 to 12 range, but he can go higher. He's only in his second year. He's only played a season and a half. He has Kyle Shanahan as his coach. We could see him continue to progress. Tom Brady, his first 3 Super Bowls relied on a great defense, the greatest coach of all time, and a pretty good run game. Now, his Super Bowls 4, 5, and 6, and 7, Tom Brady was a guy. He was the GOAT at that point. So we see these players progress. Brock Purdy's not even played 2 full seasons, and we're already like, yeah, he's done. Instead of, like you said, NFC Championship, gets hurt, and now maybe a Super Bowl win. Like, this guy's ceiling could be a lot higher than what people realize.
For sure. I'm looking at his contract now. It looks like next year he's slated to make $985,000, so not even $1 million. And then in the final year of his contract, 1.1 mil. So like they need to capitalize on it now because we've talked about the cap on this show with the 49ers. It's like they're not even going to have enough money next year to extend Ayuk unless they move some stuff around. So like they need to figure it out and win some Super Bowls and such before this all happens. Because at that point, then you're kind of in a little bit of a pickle. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was good. Yeah. Do you want to recap real quick?
Yeah.
What was your first pick?
I said the Chiefs have a lot to win with their dynasty standpoint, and then I said Patrick Mahomes' dad.
Well, there were 3.
Yeah, there was a third one in there, wasn't there? Or did we only
No,
do
we
two?
just did 2.
3.
Oh, I did 3.
rounds. I did all 3.
I did Chris Jones, Mahomes, and Kelsey.
We skipped over him after because we were like, all right.
Oh, yeah, we didn't do...
We only gave you 1 pick instead of 2 in a row. Is that what it was?
Yeah,
Oh,
we didn't.
yeah.
We didn't let you snake.
Do you want to take a third or no? No,
it's fine.
Okay, sounds good. You kind of it was a showstopper answer on your second second round pick.
Thank
so
you.
I think you threw us all off there, if we're being honest. So do you want to recap yours?
Yeah, mine was Brock Purdy, and then second one was Kyle Shanahan being one of the best coaches, and then my third one was Trent Williams being the best tackle.
I said Chiefs win AFC West based on like retirements and conversation in the offseason. I said Christian McCaffrey with his Hall of Fame eligibility and resume, whatever you want to call it. And then third, I went with Brock Purdy's wallet. So
Surprised no one had anything to say about George Kittle.
I think he's always been underrated in his career a little bit. And like, because there's always been guys that are like considered better than him.
Yeah.
So like,
Bronx, Kelsey.
exactly. Mark Andrews, when he's healthy, like he was always in the top 3 conversation. I don't know that he was ever. He was always number 3.
He
was always number 3 on that list. I
He
feel
can
like
block more than they use in the block more.
Yeah.
Than
He's good, but I don't feel like they need him. I feel like they'd be in the same spot without him.
They need him, like I said. They use him in the blocking.
Yeah, but I feel like they'd still be in the Super Bowl without him.
I feel like guys like him and Debo, who, when their careers are done, there's going to be a lot that doesn't show up on the stat sheet compared to some of the other guys, like a McCaffrey or a Kelsey. Super Bowls and like a Super Bowl MVP would benefit them so much because those guys. This is super projecting forward, but let's say they continue on their pace for another 5 to 8 years and finish up with good stats, but not crazy good stats. You kind of get into like the Hines Ward scenario where you have Debo, who's one of the best blockers in the NFL, one of the toughest runners out of any position. And you have George Kittle, who's one of the best blocking tight ends in the league. So they're not going to have quite Hall of Fame numbers, probably close, but not just enough. But then if you look at their game in totality, then that's kind of where their Hall of Fame case comes in. And Hines Ward, we've said it multiple times on this show, and we're going to say it a ton in the offseason too. The guy deserves in Canton. 86 just embodies the black and gold. So
100%. Yeah, cool. So that was a nice little segment. I had fun with that. So that was good. We'll definitely do some more stuff like that once we get into the off season and just throwing some stuff around hypotheticals. Sports guys love hypotheticals. So, all right. The last thing we wanted to do was just update on our Super Bowl picks, kind of what we talked about last week, but also if we wanted to like update any of our predictions or anything like that. So I'll start with that one. So, for what I chose last week was Chiefs win, and I also said bold prediction. I think we talked about bold predictions last week.
Yep.
We threw out one with each one. Was Travis Kelce Super Bowl MVP. In his acceptance speech, whatever you want to call it, at the end, he retires. So that was my prediction. I'm sticking with it. So
mine was 49ers win. My bold take was I could see them blowing them out like the Bucs did to the Chiefs because we didn't think that was going to happen, but it did. I will change it where I don't. It probably won't be a blowout, but I think that 49ers still beat them.
Joe Thuney out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
is it official out?
He said he's a long shot, I think is
Okay.
what Reed said.
But there's no way.
The Chiefs and the Niners played each other this year, right?
No.
I don't think they did.
They didn't? Okay.
So, no.
No, because the Niners got blown out by
I just
the
didn't-
Ravens.
I didn't know if this Nick Allegretti played
I
before.
don't think they played each other since the Super Bowl.
No.
I think the big deal was
that was
the
4 years
Ravens
ago.
Chiefs always playing each other.
Josie's going to check
I really
that.
don't think they
I'm
did
gonna look
play
it
each
up.
other. I'm being dead.
I don't think they played
really
each
don't
other
think
this
they did.
year.
I don't remember
could be
them
wrong.
playing, but I don't know.
I think they definitely have played at some point. I picked San Francisco to win. That was very biased just because I love Kyle Shanahan and I really want him to win. I am going to change. I think Kansas City's going to win, but I'm going to, just like I do with the Steelers, I'm going to try and gaslight myself into thinking the Niners are going to be able to beat Patrick Mahomes. My bold prediction was a defensive player MVP, and you guys pushed me a little bit harder, so I threw out Drake Greenlaw as a name.
I said Chiefs are going to win. It wasn't going to be a close game nor a blowout. What did I say? Maybe 17 points they were going to win by.
Yep.
Something like that. But my bold take was similar to yours. Travis Kelce, Super Bowl MVP with 3 touchdowns.
Nobody wanted to update anything. We're all sticking with our guns.
Yeah,
That's
update
awesome.
Like I said, 49ers win. I'm sticking with that. I think it'll be a shootout, high scoring, down to the last play type of deal.
who gets the ball last?
Yeah.
Field goals. See if Moody can actually hit a field goal for once in his life.
Third round pick.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Update on what Hayden was talking about. The Niners and Chiefs did not play this year. So
Have
I
they
didn't.
played in the
Yeah,
last 4
it's-
years?
oh,
Do you
So
know?
that's what we were looking up. Okay. See, I thought we were looking up just if they played this year.
I mean, because what? That Super Bowl was 4 years ago.
I really can't
Yeah,
think of them
right.
playing each other.
I can't think either, but they've had
The only
to
way
have.
I would think is if they were at San Francisco, but I don't remember that at all.
I feel like that's been like a Sunday night game or something.
Footballdatabase.com. All right. So they played last year, just before, like a week before Halloween.
They got smoked.
The Chiefs scored 44. The Niners scored 23.
I don't remember that game
And then they
at
played
all.
in 2020. They played in 2020, 31-20, which was the Super Bowl. So they've only played once since the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs mopped the floor with the Niners.
Dude,
It was
I can't
44-23.
remember that game.
Not even. I mean, I'll look at the box score real quick to get some stats to see if we can refresh our memory. But like, Ray McLeod scored off a pass from Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy G was still starting. That's how you know.
Mecole Hardman had a 25-yard rush. Mecole Hardman scored 2 touchdowns. Mecole Hardman scored 3 touchdowns. Juju Smith-Schuster, 45-yard pass from Patrick Mahomes.
Shout out.
Safety. There's a safety by Frank Clark on Jimmy Garoppolo.
Wait, which game was this? Last year?
This was
Yeah.
last year, right, like a week before Halloween. It was in Santa Clara.
I don't remember that game at all.
I don't have much of a memory for it either. Attendance, 71,000. So it was sold out. Like,
Josie, do you have Super Bowl trivia for us of some sorts?
yes, we did some.
Well, real quick, while you pull that up, question for the group. So last time these two teams played each other in a Super Bowl, as I think Josie or Luke mentioned, it was a great game. But also, a month later, global pandemic hit. So, if the Chiefs...
Election seasons.
Yes.
I'm conspiracy theories.
So, Chiefs win again. Does that mean...
COVID 20.
Well, would it be 2020? Or, yeah.
Well,
It doesn't have to be COVID. Let's
Josh Giddey wants COVID-15.
That might be as bad as Cooper, dude. Oh my goodness.
Now they're calling it Disease X, apparently.
Disease X.
Virus X.
So
that
are
was
you
another
asking us if we
showstopper.
think there's going to be another pandemic?
No, but I had to throw it out there.
Okay.
Yeah. I knew we had a conspiracy theorist in the crowd. I didn't know if, or I don't know. Maybe it's just like a signal, like
It's a glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Tried hard enough in the simulation.
it's a prophecy. Like
All right, I got some Super Bowl trivia here. So we'll go down through. This is just a list of questions, so I'll throw some out there. First one, what team has played in 4 Super Bowls and never held a lead?
Vikings?
It is the Vikings. Good pull.
because
thought-
everyone's gonna think Buffalo
Buffalo.
initially,
I was
but
thinking Buffalo
Buffalo,
led.
and I knew 49. Knew the Vikings were in it like a lot, and they never won one too.
Buffalo led in like everyone except the Cowboys. When
Yeah,
they got absolutely
dog
blown
water, right?
out,
Yeah.
like 52-13 or something like that. All right, what teams have not appeared in a single Super Bowl?
Lions.
Browns.
4. There's 4. Lions, Browns,
Jags, Texans.
Jags, Texans. Yep, the 2 newbies. All right, we talked earlier about the Niners Ravens Super Bowl where there's the blackout. Who was the halftime show?
Beyonce.
It was Beyonce. What year?
That one?
2012. Well, 2013 year, 2012 season.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Who has participated in the most Super Bowl games? What franchise?
New England.
Niners.
Yep. How many?
Oh.
This is 13.
Nope. Lower.
So
No, it's got to be. I think
they've
it's
won 6.
9.
They lost 3 with Brady, 9, and then they played in 2, so 11.
11. Yep.
Yeah.
How much does the Lombardi Trophy weigh?
22 pounds.
Nope.
60.
22 pounds.
No.
69 pounds.
No. guys, this isn't the Stanley Cup. This is this big.
Dense, though.
I thought it's heavy. I thought players said it was actually heavy.
He's a
dented it.
professional football
14
player.
pounds.
If they
It's
can hold it.
hollow. Gronk dented it when he hit
5
a
pounds.
baseball.
No, more than, it's going to be 11.23 pounds.
7, guys.
Really?
7.
It looks
I'm
heavy.
sorry. It looks like I feel like it'll be heavy.
7 pounds.
Hey, that's good.
That's
movie.
less than a
That's
baby.
a good Will Smith movie.
That's
We'll
less than
pull
a
there.
baby.
So yeah.
I
Let's
weighed
see.
like double that when I was
Shut up.
You did not weigh 14
Josie,
I
pounds.
think I was like 13.
No way.
I think
I was
so.
the heaviest baby out of all 3 of us.
How much were you?
I was like 10
10.
pounds.
I was 10 pounds.
I was like 9 or
You're
8.
now.
I was 10 pounds 24 inches. So I was born 2 feet tall. That is a fact.
So you've
I've only grown 4 feet in my life.
Nice.
Huge. That do you understand how long that is?
You're like a math
Yeah, 24
problem where it's
inches.
like Josie
ate by
Josie
18
was 2
watermelons.
inches tall.
Josie weighed the same as 10 watermelons.
Calculate the area of Josie like times width.
Do it. All right. What teams have only ever won 1 Super Bowl?
Seahawks.
1?
Eagles.
Yep.
That's wild.
There's 3 more.
Chargers.
No, they don't have one, right? There's 0, I think.
How many of the
Fouts never got it.
Broncos?
Broncos have 4.
Yeah, Broncos won them with
Oh.
what's his face?
Elway.
2,
Elway.
well,
Saints.
yeah, just 3, I think.
Saints have 1. There's 2 more. 85.
Not the Bears.
Bears.
Go Bears.
Yep. And then this one would have been the most obvious to me. The Ravens have 2.
Oh, the two. Yeah.
Rams
Oh,
have
yeah,
like
they do.
3.
The Rams won some with Dickerson.
Bengals.
No, I don't think
Colts.
they did. I
Big,
don't, I don't,
big market. Think about like a
not my
Jets.
fur coat. Jets. Thank you. Yep. Jets. Joe
So what
Namath.
were it was what, 3 teams? Is that what you
It
said?
was 5.
5 teams?
It was Jets, Bears, Saints, Seahawks, Eagles.
I got most of those. I got 4 of those.
No, you carried.
Yeah.
Eagles is
I just know that because of
They got close a lot in the early 2000s with Reed, but before that they were kind of bad.
yeah.
So, in honor of having a currently starting NFL quarterback that's a lefty and one potentially coming out in the draft with Penix, who was the first left-handed quarterback to get a Super Bowl ring?
Michael Vick.
no Vic.
Vic never had a
Vic
ring.
never-
Vic
lost.
never had a ring.
yeah.
Vic lost.
That was my guess too.
Oh,
Was it Doug Williams?
It was not.
Flutie.
Flutie
Steve
was,
Young.
Flutie was righty.
Elway?
Steve Young didn't get.
Elway was righty.
I said first.
Elway was a
He was a starter.
It was a start.
Elway was a righty. Yeah.
I thought Elway was a lefty.
No, he was a righty.
He was righty. I mean, the best lefty or the most Super Bowl wins, I think, from a lefty is Steve Young, but that's not the answer. It was before him.
I don't know then.
Was it my boy Staubach?
It is not, but that's the correct first letter of the last name. STA is what his last name starts with.
I don't know.
He was the Raider. Oh, Ken Stabler,
Ken Stabler.
Yeah.
Yep.
Never guessed.
Yeah.
Raiders legend, the Snake.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do one more. Oh, interesting. I mean, I don't think you guys are going to get this because it's a really random one. How many chicken wings are consumed on Super Bowl Sunday?
5.3 million.
Higher.
Well, yeah, way
10
more
million.
than that.
Wow.
Way more than
Double.
500.
20 million.
No, I'm sorry. Not double what he said.
Okay, there's 330 million
Wait,
Americans.
what was your first answer?
that. I think it.
5 million. He
Oh,
said
I
5
mean,
million. I said 10 million.
100 times that. You're not even close.
553.8 million.
Guys, you
Okay.
1.2 billion.
1.3 billion.
Yeah, but
I
not
was gonna say
every
that-
single
I-
person's going to eat a
I
chicken
thought you
wing.
said 500 million. That's why I was like double that, but I misunderstood what
But
you
even
said.
if a million
Yeah.
of them ate like 10 chicken wings,
How much do Americans spend on beer for Super Bowl Sunday?
Well, are you going to tell us the answer?
I did. I said it. He said
1.3 billion.
1.2. I said 1.3.
Okay.
billion?
Yeah, 1.3 billion with chicken wings.
We're fat.
Divide that by 2, that's how many.
You had last Sunday? I don't know what.
So out of nowhere.
He's giving you a bad picture for the thumbnail.
I'm leaving a bad Yelp review.
Wait, we let all of us like suck our faces in, like do some makeup. No, do your
Everybody viewing.
All right. How much do Americans spend on beer for Super Bowl Sunday?
Is it higher than the wings?
I'll give you a hint. It's the same.
Really?
$1.3 billion on beer for Super Bowl.
I saw it
Football's
was
good
either.
for the economy. That's what I'm hearing.
I think it was 13. Might have been $13 billion wagered on like DraftKings or something like that.
Oh, already
or it was
probably.
13 million. One of those.
Probably
Because
already.
they
It's
gamble
gonna-
on like
it's
the
gonna
coin toss and
quadruple.
Gatorade color and like
But
You can
okay,
do those on
non-football
FanDuel.
going
I
off
think
like
those
that
ones are-
DraftKings and FanDuel stuff. There's been this FanDuel thing that started last year with Gronk making it's
Oh,
what's called the
yeah.
kick, of destiny. He missed it last year. Do we think he's gonna make it this
I
year?
think I voted he was making it.
I think it's an actual. I think it's an actual kick though. Like he's actually.
No, it's an actual
Like,
thing.
like
Yeah.
how close was he last year? Did
Like,
anyone
nah,
watch last
not
year?
close.
Bad.
He was, no, he missed it awfully, but it's only like a 30-yard kick.
And I
or
don't
something
think
like
it's
that.
scripted.
not-
I think it's
Last year,
actually.
it was like if he won, you get some X amount of money. But this year is like you vote: is he going to make it or is he going to miss it?
Kicking is way harder than people give it credit for. Kicking is incredibly hard. Like not like just kicking alone, not even in a game. It's just like it's very difficult. I did have one more on here because I thought it was interesting. What 2 teams are tied for the most Super Bowl losses? And how many? No,
Cowboys,
no,
Niners.
no,
Packers,
no.
Patriots.
Patriots is one of them.
Eagles,
Most
Nope.
Super Bowl losses.
Broncos.
Yep, Broncos.
Patriots
How many?
and Broncos. New England lost 5.
5.
Yeah.
5 Super Bowl losses.
3 with
So-
Brady and then 2. 1 90s with Bledsoe and 1 in the 80s versus the Bears.
Yep. That's true. Yeah. So
And then Elway lost all theirs, with the exception of one, which was Peyton.
5.
No, Peyton lost the one in Seattle,
okay.
and then they lost 4 in the 80s.
Oh, I thought you said Elway lost all of theirs.
All
I was
theirs
I
with the
didn't
exception of one.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's insane. I mean, saw success getting there, I guess.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan, if you will, make it to the final game and lose it.
No comment.
Yeah, so that's all we have for today, unless anybody had anything else to add. Super Bowl Sunday this Sunday, so really excited. Should be a good game. And we're definitely going to still continue to do stuff in the off season. So make sure you guys stay tuned to the things that we're going to be doing. So,
Yeah, big stuff planned. Real quick, everyone's favorite Super Bowl food. Wings.
Then
You can't
taco,
repeat also.
like nacho, like the
Taco bowls?
dip,
Taco
like the
bowl.
dip,
Taco dip.
taco dip, dip,
Wait, what dip?
taco dip.
2008
Okay.
called.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll throw one out there. Buffalo chicken dip, since it's a little bit different. I mean, pizza. I mean, the staples. So,
I like you get like a croissant and then you put like pepperoni and cheese in it, and then it's like a pizza croissant.
My uncle
Croissant
usually
sandwich.
makes like a themed for like the team stuff. Last year he did Philly steak, and I don't know what he did for the Chiefs side, but the Philly steak was pretty smack. So whatever
Chili
he
or
makes,
something.
whatever he makes,
Philly
pretty
cheesesteaks
smack.
always hit. Always. So, yeah, cool. So, this has been the Second and Short podcast.